first term. We left a lot of it, although a lot of it, but very small relatively, in Afghanistan. The Taliban has it. You know, they have their parade every year where they take our military vehicles and run them up some little street, and like it's their form of a military parade, and it makes me angry when I see that. Angry. When I see that, I get angry. You know, we give them, I don't think anyone knows this, we give Afghanistan about $2 or $2.5 billion a year. Do you know that? For aid. We need aid ourselves. And I'm going to go back, and I told them yesterday, I want to look at it, but if we're going to give them money, it's okay. But I want them to give us back our military equipment that they have. They're selling it. Doug, would you take that, please? All right? Write something up. No, I want them to give back. If we're going to give them that kind of money, let them give back the military equipment, which they have. They have tanks and trucks and guns and goggles. They have goggles. They have night goggles, better than we have. Brand new right out of the box. It's unbelievable. So I want to do that, and I want if we're going to pay them, I want to get that equipment back, okay? Doug can do it. He's one of the guys. He's a business guy. To him, he's sitting there saying, how the hell did this ever happen, right? Can you believe it? We give them billions of dollars, and we gave them our military equipment. Just tremendous numbers of billions of dollars worth of military, billions and billions. We have a ceasefire in Gaza, and we're joined today by several survivors of the captivity under Hamas, including Noah Argamani and Ilana Gretovsky. Wow, look at that, how beautiful. What a beautiful group of people. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you're sitting next to a great guy, Sebastian Gorka, who's also now in the administration. From day one, right, Sebastian? He's been a loyalist from day one. We love Sebastian. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Thank you, everybody. That's very nice. Beautiful. We're going to make it work somehow, you know. We're doing the best we can. We started. It should have never happened. That's the sad part. Would have never happened. If I were president, and I should have been, if I were president, it would have never happened. But it did, so we're doing the best we can with it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also with us are family members of some individuals who are still hostages, and we will not rest until all of the hostages have been returned back home. Some of them are coming home in very bad condition, and some of them are coming home only as bodies. They're dead. We have a lot of them coming home now. They're dead. And these are largely young people. Young people don't die. Young people are young people. They don't die like this, but they're dead. And the parents come to me and they say, please, sir, could you get my son back? How old is he, sir? My son is dead. It's important, just as important as if that son were alive, to get the body back. It's amazing, actually. Amazing. Just as important. Thank you. It's amazing, though, the parents. The parents are strong. I mean, look, strong. What does strong mean? Strong is their life is ruined. Really, it's ruined. I see the people. But they come up to me, and it's so important to get the body back. They know. And some are not sure. They're 80% sure he's dead or she's dead. But they have that little glimmer of hope, and I say, let them have that hope, right? Let them have that hope. But getting the body back is just as important as getting the son back healthy or the daughter back healthy. It's amazing to see when I see the level of intensity and love and sorrow and tragedy. As I said in my inaugural address, it's my hope that my greatest legacy will be as a peacemaker, not a conqueror. I don't want to be a conqueror. Under the Trump administration,
there is a science to beauty, evaluation of new plants, breeding new plans.
And it's done.
Government and the private sector. And notified every single government.
It's crazy you don't trust Trump.
Or something like that.
You think he racist or something?
I don't know what he is. I don't think he racist. I think he just get off on saying certain shit. I think he knows.
He said the N-word? You think he said the N-word?
Everybody say the N-word.
For real.
I don't think he got a problem with black people. I think that
he just for his people.
He know how to say certain shit to make him look. To me, Trump is a big head guy. So he just, if they're gonna get on screen, if we're gonna get on talk about, he don't care. He'll say whatever, he'll do whatever. Like you said, he rich. So nothing that he can do that can get him in real trouble. So when you got a big head and you got money, what happens?
Total package.
DEI officer that their job has been deleted. They're gone. They're fired. You're fired. Get out. You're fired. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That was easy. I banned men from competing in women's sports. And I also proudly banned the use of... Yeah, thank you.
Politicians don't care about.
We banned the use of puberty blockers, hormone injections, and other chemical and surgical mutilation of your youth. Can you imagine making a speech like this 10 years ago? People would say, what the hell is he talking about, right? This is a sickness that came along with critical race theory and all of the other things that we had to put up with. And it's all out now, critical race theory and transgender insanity. It's all gone from our schools and from our military. And I believe it's gone, too. I think we've turned the heads of even the people that, if you can believe they're believers, I don't know if they were, but I believe that it's all gone. And I've directed the reinstatement of any service member who was expelled from the armed forces due to the COVID vaccine mandate. They will be returned to their former rank with full back pay. Full back pay. I banned government censorship from your voices and brought back free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. We do have it now, actually. Now, this was a very vicious regime, you know. I was put under investigation more so than the late, great Alphonse Capone, one of the great killers of the world. Trump, my father would look down my mother. How the hell did this happen to my boy? This was no, I was under investigation at a far greater level than Al Capone or anybody else, probably in the history of our country. These people are sick. They're sick. They're bad people. I ended Joe Biden's weaponization as soon as I got in. I said, I'm going to hit him with the same stuff.
New this morning, former President Barack Obama is speaking out with sharp criticism of President.
There's a driver from a small town in Texas who walked away with $80,000 after their car accident last month. Here's
New this morning, former President Barack Obama is speaking out with sharp criticism of President Donald Trump. During an onstage interview at Hamilton College, Obama called the Trump administration's actions against perceived political opponents unimaginable. He said if he had made similar moves, the Republican Party would have not tolerated it. As for the tariffs imposed this week, Obama says he doesn't think it's good for America. He added he was more concerned with the government threatening universities if they don't stop student protests.
Why are they bringing Obama in? What's up with that?
New this morning,
Trump administration making segregated facilities no longer banned. Let's put it up full mass. MAGA, after recent change by the Trump administration, the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. I will explain. The segregation clause is one of several identified in a public memo issued by the General Services Administration, GSA, last month, affecting all civil federal agencies. The memo explains that it is making changes prompted by President Trump's executive order on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which repealed an executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 regarding federal contractors and non-discrimination. The memo also addresses Trump's executive order on gender identity. There's more. The clause in question.
Been in a car accident? Here's exactly how to get every dollar you're owed. If you've been in a car accident,
It's the first in the federal acquisition regulation known as FAR, a huge document used by agencies to write contracts for anyone providing goods or services to the federal government. The clause is titled Prohibition of Segregation Facilities and reads, quote, the contractor agrees that it does not and will not maintain or provide for its employees any segregated facilities at any of its establishments, and that it does not and will not permit its employees to perform their services at any location under its control where segregated facilities are maintained. Then it defines segregated facilities as work areas, restaurants, drinking fountains, transportation, housing, and more. And it says you cannot segregate based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Several federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, Commerce, and Homeland Security, have notified staff who oversee federal contracts that they should start instituting these changes. All right, to be clear, all businesses, those that have government contracts and those that do not, still need to follow federal and state laws, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They have not successfully repealed that. They're coming after it, which makes segregated facilities illegal. While there are still state and federal laws that outlaw segregation and discrimination that companies need to comply with, legal experts say this contract, this change to the contract across the federal government is significant. Now, I'm going to read a quote from a law professor. I'm going to respectfully disagree. So, quote, it's symbolic, but it's incredibly meaningful in symbolism, says Melissa Murray. Melissa Murray is a constitutional professor at New York University. Quote, these provisions that required federal contractors to adhere and to comply with federal civil rights laws and to maintain integrated rather than segregated workplaces were all part of the federal government's effort to facilitate the settlement that led to the integration in the 1950s and the 1960s. Quote, the fact that they are now excluding those provisions from the requirements for federal contractors, I think speaks volume, Murray says. Highly respected professor of law. I do respectfully disagree, and let me tell you why. We're continuing to look at linear approaches to policy and law. For example, if you were adverse to affirmative action and you believed that affirmative action needed to be done away with, and you agreed with the Supreme Court ruling at that time, I wrote an op-ed that explained it is not about affirmative action. It is about the framework of overall diversity, equity, and inclusion. I said that then. I said they are playing chess while we are playing checkers. In checkers, you use power to gain position. In chess, you use position to gain power. So they were utilizing that one element in order to take down the entire diversity, equity, and inclusion dynamic in the United States of America. So they then went after contracts. They went after scholarships. They went after nonprofits that exclusively served a particular demographic because that demographic was underserved. And now they have freedom to go after it all. But so many thought that affirmative action was just going to be the affirmative action. Affirmative action isn't even a policy, it's a general framework. And white women have benefited from affirmative action more so than any other demographic in the United States of America. Those things were not properly contextualized. Now we have the chipping away of a ban, okay, that specifically prohibited a company from having to do business with the federal government and engage in such an action as discrimination. Why is that important? Because taxpayers fund those contracts. I really don't need to go a step further than that. Taxpayers fund the contract. So you're telling me that I can pay for my own oppression? That's exactly what the government was doing and willing to continue to do. What this does is it eliminates a barrier.
Are you looking for a new fence or gate for your home or property? Type in your address and drop the red pins to create the perimeter
That the government would have to overcome if they argued that just because a place has segregation does not mean that place is disqualified from contracting with the government. They have eliminated one of the barriers now. Don't think they're not going after the rest, all right? Okay, Big Wall's thoughts, man.
Man, and I think what's important for people to kind of get from this, because it's 2025 and not 1964 anymore, they're not gonna do like blacks only water fountains. What they're gonna do is like they're gonna update it in terms of the people who are being demonized nowadays, whether that be migrants, whether that be trans people, whether that be, whoever. They're gonna update it for the people that are currently now demonized within that right-wing ideology and culture. And so that's what I would like people to stay sort of focused on, and don't think that it's gonna come in the same forms of, oh, you guys can't use the swimming pool, black people, in Mississippi or Arkansas. They're gonna update this thing, and I think that's what's definitely catching my eye, because it's like, wait a minute, like they're not gonna go back to saying like, blacks not come here anymore. Like they've gotten a little bit smarter than that, right? Like they know, especially within the discourse, they can't be seen to be doing something straight out of the playbook of Bull Connor, but just trust me, they're going to adjust and do something just as disgusting, quite frankly, and just as discriminatory.
That is correct. And they know there will be a significant reaction, a backlash, if they utilize the playbook from the 60s. So they have evolved in their bigotry and racism. You are spot on. We will bring you updates as they come.
Think about that shit, Bobby, like that.
This is Democracy Now!, Democracy U.S. History.
just show you what money can do.
Yep.
Váyase al demonio, Mr. Trump.
They're sending people. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. Two waiters came up to me tonight. Mr. Trump, we love you. I said, where are you from? Mexico. I said, that's great. I love you too. These countries aren't sending the finest. They're sending people that are like got a lot of problems. Doesn't that make sense? I basically said this. We need to strengthen our borders. And they said I'm a racist. To get the cars and trucks and everything over here, let the illegals drive them in. They're coming in anyway. Oh, I do great with Latino voters. I employ so many Latinos. I have so many people working for me.
It's common sense. They don't want these people, so they send them to the United States because the United States is run by stupid people. Some are good and some are rapists and some are killers, and we don't even know what we're getting.
I'm not just saying Mexicans. I'm talking about people that are from all over that are killers and rapists. I've taken a lot of heat, and it's unnecessary, very unfair heat, because first of all, I love the Mexican people. How can I not love people that give me tens of millions of dollars for apartments? You have to love them. But I love them for a lot of reasons. I love them for their spirit. And then I talk about Mexico, and I love Mexico, but every time I talk about it, they accuse me of being a racist. You have illegal.
The Trump administration making segregated facilities no longer banned.
I mean, the anti-Elon Musk hate.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way.
The anti-Elon Musk hate and resistance continues, and it appears to be escalating. Protests at not only his companies, but also at like Tesla dealerships has become pretty common, and it's getting intense. Take a look.
Will Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Trump senior advisor Elon Musk are taking their war of words to the next level. Remember when Walz celebrated Tesla stock falling?
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping.
Despite his constituents having 1.6 million shares of Tesla. Anyway, Elon Musk fired back last week with this on Special Report with Brett Baer.
You had Tim Walz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with a Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep, what a jerk. Like who derives joy from that?
Good question. And now Walz is taking his insults up a notch. Watch.
Are you a creep and a jerk?
Well, that's a badge of honor if he thinks I am. Donald Trump won Wisconsin. I'll give him that. But he's sharing his presidency in the White House and who knows what else with this guy who's a loser, who lost. This guy's really bad at this. I am angry with this guy. I'm glad he's irritated with me. He's a bully. It's his toxic personality.
It's funny, Tommy, because he went on to say, that toxic personality repels voters, but I believe he's the one that's the failed candidate.
Yeah, I don't think that Elon Musk is crying at night over Tim Walz's perception of him, to your point in the break, Cheryl, the richest man in the world, and Tim Walz. This thing for Tim Walz, I think we need to continue to gas him up because I think he thinks he can run in 2028, and I can't think of anything better for the Republican Party than if Tim Walz runs. But he's being gassed up right now. He's doing these little one-man stage tours. He thinks he's a comedian. Someone told him he was funny, and I think we should keep telling him. I think we should gas him up and get him ready for 2028. I think it should be Walz, Crockett, and
Boy, look crazy.